Hey guys, I'm Morthadon, and I'm here for a update video on our Patreon stuff that I've been doing. For those of you who don't know, I lost my Vimeo account a while back. My videos were, uh, basically they were had the episodes in the video, but I redirected you to see those highlights at Vimeo. And kind of like what a lot of other reactors do, not all reactors, everyone has different formats, but that ended up getting deleted. The whole Vimeo account, I lost everything. Probably, I think it was like over like 200 or 300 videos worth of content just got removed. So that was very depressing, but I took the initiative on that to go a different route with my channel. I started doing the timer based, which, if you've watched my recent reactions, I've now fully converted to that and everything. And that way, there's no copyright issues. It's just me with a timer on the screen. There's no reason for the videos ever to be taken down. It makes up a little more work for you guys because you have to have the footage and you have to sync it up with me, but you do get to watch the full episodes, which brings me to why I had to change up my Patreon, because basically my Patreon before was a $5 tier, which gave you access to full length, which was basically the timer based stuff where you could watch the full episode along with me. And then I had the uh, $10 tier, which was early access. And ever since I made the change to my channel where all my videos are timer based, that $5 tier has become useless. It does nothing. So I made a little note on there saying, tier being redesigned and stuff like that. And I've been sitting here thinking, like, what can I do? What can I add to my Patreon to make it more beneficial? Because I want you guys to get, your money's worth. Like, I'm definitely one of those people that, like, if I don't feel like I'm getting my money's worth, I usually don't become a patron to someone, right? Like, there's definitely a lot of very generous people out there and everything, and I guess I'm just not one of them because I don't, I'm not rich or anything. I don't have like a lot of extra funds to throw around and everything, so I tend to be on the conservative side where it's like, okay, well, I'm already paying monthly for Netflix and stuff. Do I want to pay monthly for, one of these other, services and stuff like that? And usually I'm like, no, I think I can make it without it, even though sometimes I really want to, sometimes I do for like 1 month or so or something like that. But either way, regardless, I always want my patrons to feel like they're getting good stuff out of it, right? So that leads me to the changes that I've come up with, and I'm also open to adding more stuff. If you guys have any ideas, you guys can let me know in the comments. Doesn't mean I'm going to implement them, but I always take options, things I can consider and mull over and stuff like that. And I really do want to improve the channel and make it better for you guys to watch and stuff like that. So basically, with all that out of the way, the first big change I want to make is I'm going to be moving the early access to the $5 tier, and which is basically going to be one episode early, and that's going to be a static thing. When you have that $5 tier, it's always going to be one episode early, even though sometimes I do two episodes and stuff like that, two or three, if I ever watch ahead and stuff like that. That's going to be delegated to higher tiers now. And so $5 tier is going to be one episode of early access. You get one episode ahead of time. Then YouTube gets it, and then which is basically how my $10 tier works right now. Except sometimes you get slightly more, but it's not very often. And then the $10 tier, I'm going to be doing something that I'm not sure what I'm going to really be calling them. I'm probably not going to know what I call them until I release the first one, but what I'm going to be doing is Patreon shows. And that's going to be separate reactions. It's not going to take up any of the slots going on right now. So all the slots you see, my, what is it, Sunday, Monday, Thursday, and Friday, those 4 days are still going to have episodes just like normal. But I'm going to be adding another slot on there, which is going to be Patreon shows. And it's basically going to be, once, maybe twice a week, I'll release an episode to Patreon that won't get uploaded to YouTube for until the show is completely done. and then the next Patreon show will start, and then maybe I'll start releasing those episodes that I've built up onto YouTube. So basically, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to give you guys benefits to being a patron, but I don't want there to be exclusive stuff only to patrons. Like, I want the shows that I watch to be accessible to the people on YouTube too. But what the $10 tier will allow you to do is watch an entire show before it even reaches YouTube and stuff like that. And that'll also add some more shows that eventually get onto YouTube down the road. And for those shows, I'm either going to be picking them myself for now, or I'm going to be taking like the second place or something in polls, which leads me to my next thing. In 11 days is when the 2 polls we have going on end. And at least 11 days on my time. I think it'll probably be 10 or 9 days by the time I get this out on YouTube. But either way, when those end, I think that's when this new thing is going to really come into play. I'm probably going to pick like the second place show on there or something along that lines, or I'm just going to pick a show or whatever I decide to do. But we're going to be adding that new show onto the Patreon tier, adjusting the Patreon tiers. I might actually rename the tiers like within the next day, so that way it gets updated for the new month, so that way people see it. I kind of, thinking about it now, what I should have done is I should have, halfway through this month, I should have made the update to those changes, so that way if you guys only wanted early access, you could downgrade your tiers, for those of you who are already patrons. But I apologize for that. Hopefully it doesn't like mess any of you guys up and stuff like that. But yeah, so there's going to be Patreon shows for the $10 tier, and also, if I do end up getting enough patrons, I'll allow you guys to vote for the patron shows. But right now, I have a average of like 2 or 3 at a time patrons, so I feel like that's going to be kind of weird to just have a vote between like 2 or 3 people, and I don't want to open it up to the public and be like, hey guys, everybody can vote for this show that you're not going to be able to watch because it's, going to be patron only for a long time. So I thought that would be a bit silly, which is why I decided for now until, if I ever get enough patrons where I feel like the vote can be very good, then I'll do the votes and stuff like that. But yeah, so the other thing is I want to add in the early access. Like, it's going to be very intermittent. It's not going to be consistent, but I was thinking about doing like an extra early access thing. I don't know what I want to call it. I've been thinking about different names. So I was thinking like, extra early access, or what were some of the other names I came up with? There was a couple of them. I think I thought of like super early access, which seems like kind of dumb. It basically was like early access was something before it to kind of clarify the differences between the tiers. But basically what it would be is if I ever watch more than one episode ahead, then I will release that to Patreon for the $10 tier. So basically the $5 tier will be 1 episode of early access. So when I release episode 9, say I'm watching a show, when I release episode 9 on YouTube, I'll be releasing episode 10 on Patreon that same week. And then maybe say I watched ahead, that episode 10 will be the $5 tier. And then say I watched ahead and I now have episode 11 ready, I'll release that one as well for the higher tier. But that's not going to be like an every week thing, because I try not to get too far ahead of my shows, because what I've found is when I get really far ahead of my shows, then people comment on the episodes like 4 episodes ago is like, a month ago for me. And it's like sometimes I have a hard time following what they're talking about in the comments and stuff like that, because I'm like, which episode was that? Oh yeah, this happened in it. And it's like a lot for me to catch up on and stuff like that. So that's just one of the things that I've been trying to find a good balance of. So basically the main bonus of the $10 tier is going to be the Patreon shows, having access to that. And then it's just a little side benefit that every now and then you might get some extra episodes, essentially. I'm going to have to try to figure out a way to put that into words within the tier without making the tier like a mile long, so that way people realize that they're not like guaranteed to get extra episodes other than the Patreon shows. So hopefully that all makes sense. I've been trying to mull over some other ideas. And also there's a possibility this has nothing to do with Patreon. I might be starting up some more shows as well, to fill in, some more days of the week, because ever since I started doing the timer based, it makes editing a lot easier. Because I used to have to spend 40 minutes editing an episode. I'd be like recording an episode for 40 minutes, and then I'd have to spend 40 minutes trying to cut it all down to like the 10-minute highlights and everything. It would take a while. But now that I don't have to do all that editing anymore, I have a lot more free time to record more stuff, which is why I thought of the Patreon shows would be great. Um, but then I'm also thinking about trying to add more, just to, more time slots just to my channel. Like I have the Sunday, Monday, Thursday, Friday. Maybe I could add like a Wednesday or a Tuesday or something, and try to. I've even considered trying to get a video out every single day, and then have the extra Patreon stuff and all that. But I don't know. I'm gonna kind of play it by ear, and maybe I'll see how I feel with the Patreon stuff. See how my time is spent doing that. The One of the other ideas I had that I've been considering is doing like a revolving door between all my shows that aren't currently airing, and doing an extra episode, swapping weeks as we go. So say, Boruto, I do 2 episodes this week, and then next week I'll do 2 episodes of Black Clover, and then the week after I do 2 episodes of, Shield Hero. Granted, that's ending, so whatever replaces Shield Hero. But then there will always be that one consistent slot of the airing shows that I'm starting to do, which right now is My Hero Academia, being replaced by what looks to be Tower of God next week, based off the current poll results, unless a bunch of people suddenly get on and vote for other things. So who knows? It still has 11 days to change, but I've heard Tower of God's very popular, so I have a feeling that it's gonna win. But yeah, little spoilers on that poll there. But I think you guys can see the percentages anyway, as soon as you vote. So not really like as much spoilers, but yeah, I mean, other than that, I think that's all I really have planned for now. But I'm always, like I said in the beginning, I'm always open to new ideas. I'm always up to add more stuff to my Patreon. So if you guys, if you're patrons to other channels that do reactions and stuff like that, and you're like, oh, these guys have this one system that's really cool, let me know. I'll look into it and see if it works for my, scheduling and setup or whatever it is. Who knows? But I'm always trying to find more and more ways to improve my Patreon and stuff like that. On another general note, there are a few things that I want to start doing a bit more of too, which is updating my banner on my YouTube channel, which isn't a big deal, but it is something where I put a very generic one up, and even I'm pretty sure I added a new time slot since then, and I'm pretty sure it's missing a day on there of shows that I air, so I definitely need to adjust that. It'd be a very easy fix to fix the dates, but I also kind of want to do some photoshopping and make one that looks good and everything. But I need to update my Patreon a bit more, because I think I'm going to wait until my next 2 shows start, because I try to put all the shows I've reacted to up on that top banner, but I don't have enough to fill that slot yet, so it's always been unfinished, but we're slowly adding in more shows. But I'm pretty sure I haven't added Black Clover to it. But now with Shield Hero ending and something replacing it, and My Hero ending and something replacing it, I think I'll wait till I have all 3 of those, and then I'll update that one. But yeah, that's just some small stuff. And then one of the other things is my intro video, which I recorded a new one a while ago and never released it. Basically, right around the time the Vimeo crap happened. I think right before that is when I recorded a new opening video, which I think has some wrong information now in it. So I think I want to do a new, because my introductory to the YouTube, I think it's the static one whenever someone's new to the channel and stuff like that. The same video has been on there since I started reactions, since day 1. So it's very outdated. I might not be as good at talking to the camera, and there's maybe some information I said on there that's wrong and stuff like that at this point. With it's been a progression of rearranging and new webcams and different setups and different settings and different formats for my videos, and a lot has changed and stuff like that. So I have some maintenance that I gotta do on the channel and stuff like that. Trying to get it up to snuff and stuff like that. Might do a new welcome to Patreon video too, which I think is um, still up there. I can't remember if I talked about the tiers specifically, which are outdated at this point, so I'll have to do a new one of those as well, possibly. So that's going to be something I'm going to be working on over the next couple months. All of this stuff. You might see the name changes of the Patreon tiers rolling out, so that way, for the next month, I think in like 10 days. So um, what is that? What's next month? April? I think next month's April. um, so around like April 10th, I think ish is when I think my next shows will be starting and stuff like that. So once that all happens, I'll probably be starting the Patreon shows and stuff like that as well. And all the tiers will be finally up to date. I've been dying to do it. It's only been like a month, but it feels like it's been so long. I've been, every time I go to my Patreon and I see the tier being redesigned, I'm like, oh, I really need to. I really want to update that, but I've been waiting for the poll to end, which is basically what's been limiting me. Is I want to use the results of the poll to decide the Patreon show that gets played. Obviously, number one on the poll is just going to be what replaces whatever the poll's for, But then second place might be what becomes the Patreon show and stuff like that. So, which I've already said before. But anyways, I guess that's it. Maybe I'll do more update videos if I come up with new ideas or if anything changes or anything like that. But thank you guys for so much. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you've made it this far in the video, I appreciate it, and I hope you guys like these new benefits. And, like I said, let me know in the comments if you have any other ideas for me. But yeah, guys, I will see you guys in my future reactions. Bye-bye.